Hello, Algebra 1 students. In this video, we're going to solve multi-step equations. So your objective will be to solve multi-step equations using one variable. But what is a multi-step equation? So basically, it's an expression that has more than one operation to solve. Like in the prior videos, you saw that we had either addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Maybe we had two of them. In this case, you may see any of these. It might have the distributive property, addition, subtraction, multiplication, etc. You're going to have to expand terms, combine like terms, or factorize. You're going to have many steps to take before you can solve. So how do you solve a multi-step equation? Here's your checklist. You're going to want to combine like terms, isolate the variable, simplify, isolate the variable again, and then solve for the variable. Okay, you can read that on your own. All right, so let's get into this. Let's dive in. Solve an equation by combining like terms. You might get something like this, and you can't immediately solve for the variable because you have, if you notice, you've got two distinctive variables right here. So step one of the process is going to be combine like terms on both sides of the equal sign. So we can combine these two, 5m plus 2m. That'll give us 7m minus 23. Okay, next step. Isolate the variable by performing the inverse operation of either adding or subtracting a constant on both sides of the equation. Since, if you notice here, we have, we've got the m is being multiplied by the 7, but in order to isolate that first, we've got to get rid of the negative 23. So we're going to perform the opposite of that and add 23 to both sides. Okay, 5 plus 23 is going to give us 28 equals 7m. All right. Now, step 3, this is the final step. Isolate the variable by the inverse of multiplication or division on both sides of the equation, and then we'll simplify. Since this is being multiplied, we're going to undo the multiplication by dividing both by 7. This will give us 4 equals m. And we're done. Solving an equation using the distributive property. Here we have an equation that has parentheses. So using the distributive property takes away those parentheses. You can see we have lots of steps to take, multiple steps before we can solve for that the variable x. So your first thing is perform the distributive property. What does that mean? Well, you're going to take 18 on this side, but you're going to multiply the 3 inside the parentheses. So 3 times 2x is 6x. And then you can take 3 and you're going to multiply it by the negative 6, which is a negative 18. Okay, next step. Isolate the variable by undoing the subtraction of 18. Okay, so you're going to want to add 18 to both sides. Performing the inverse operation. So 18 plus 18 will give us 36 equals 6x. These cross off. What I just did is I simplified by combining like terms. Now we need to solve for the variable by isolating it and undoing the multiplication. We're going to divide both sides by 6. So now we get 6 equals x. Okay, and that was it for that one. Solve an equation that contains fractions. All right, so here we have an example where we need to combine like terms before we can solve for the variable. So we have 3x over 4 minus x over 3 equals 10. We can't combine these two right here, if you notice. We can't combine the 3x minus x because our denominators do not match. However, we most certainly can make the denominators match by finding their common factor, which is going to be 12. They both share the number 12. Okay, so to get to 12, 4 to 12, we're going to have to multiply that by 3, and then the top will also have to do it by 3. So this is 3 times 3 is 9x minus. Now to get this 3 to be a 12, well, we have to multiply by 4 on both top and bottom. So this will be 4x. So now we can go ahead and add these two, or subtract these two. We've got a 9 minus 4 is a 5x over 12 equals 10. All right, now we have a simple division problem. All fractions are division. So we can undo this division by multiplying both sides by the denominator 12. That will cross out the 12s, they'll cancel out. You're left with 5x equals 120. And then we have to undo the multiplication. We're going to divide by 5 on both sides. That crosses that off. We're left with x equals, well, 5 can go into 12. This will be 2 times 2. 5 can go into 24. So there's your answer. X equals 24. All right, next one. 2b over 5 plus 3b over 4 equals 3. Again, we can't add these two because they don't have the same denominator. They do match. They both have the same variable, but the denominators don't match. We have to find their common factor. So I can already tell you it's 20. Okay, well, so we're going to multiply this by 4 to get that to be 20. This will be 8b. And over here we have to multiply this by 5. This will give us 15b equals 3. Okay, so now we can go ahead and add them. 8 plus 15 is 23b over 20 equals 3. If you notice, this is the same as the one we just did. Again, we have a division problem. To undo division, we're going to multiply by its denominator on both sides. 20s go away. You're left with 23b equals 60. Now we have a multiplication. Undo the multiplication by dividing both sides by 23. Okay, depending on your directions, it might say type in a simplified fraction or a decimal. Just follow your directions. 60 over 23 is as simple as it gets, so you could do 60 over 23. Or if you wanted to do as a decimal, it would be, I believe, 2.6. Okay. One last thing to show you. Solving equations that contain decimals. Again, you're going to want to use your calculator for this. We have multiple steps, right? If you notice here, we've got the x is being multiplied by 0.5, and then 2.325 is being subtracted. So we're going to have to go ahead and first get rid of the subtraction by adding 2.325 to both sides. Okay, so these cross off. You're left with 0.5x equals, this comes out to 6.275. You can just use your calculator, it's fine. Now we're left with just the multiplication. We have to undo that by dividing both sides by 0.5. After you use your calculator, you notice that this will come out to 8.6. And that is it. Hope you all enjoyed and have a wonderful day.